Hi there. As of now, SHIB is up by about 5%. And as of this week, it's up by about roughly 4%. Okay, so very close between the daily candle and the weekly. The daily price surge and the weekly price surge. So let's take a look at it through the Wyckoff lens and see where it's heading. If you're new to my sessions, I'll cover the Wyckoff stage, price trend change potential, key price levels, as well as the fact that these are education content only, not financial advice. So the weekly chart of SHIB is showing us that the price is stabilizing finally around the level of 61 with 5 leading zeros, so 0.000061. We'll get to look at that in detail when we get to the daily chart. Right now, what's going on is that SHIB is still within this early accumulation cycle. So sometimes these cycles finish in just like a month or two very quickly, but sometimes it can last for a year or 2 years. It all depends on at what stage of the macro environment we are in when the accumulation cycle happens, okay? If a bunch of good news is lining up for the next 6 to 12 months, obviously it can finish quicker and get into the distribution cycle because the whales basically have sufficient news to drive the FOMO of people to get in. As of now, there's still quite a bit of uncertainty. People are still speculating around, what the Fed's next moves are and, whether the countries are still going to battle around whether, financially or even physically. So that's where it's tricky as of this moment. And across the board, all the risky assets or even non-risky assets are going crazy. So back to SHIB over here. This testing period is still going on. And I mentioned the low set by last week price action, around 51 with 5 leading zeros was actually tested back in 2021 September in another lower level at 46 with 5 leading zeros was back in June 2023. So I indicated these two are still possible levels in case any bad news come out. All right, so don't expect the test is over. This is the time where the whales are going to check out everybody. Of course, some people would buy into the fact that, crypto is over. Whoever gets in now is going to get burned entirely. Well, I wouldn't say that's entirely wrong. It's just that some projects are going to disappear in these kind of ice age period, let's put it this way. But the strong ones are going to survive and get into the next cycle. All right. That's the case even for .com 25 years ago. There were very prominent projects or projects that took a lot of spotlights. But then in the end, when the winter came, those that survived, those that provide value that, the market or the people are, waiting for or longing for, eventually thrive and became the giants today. Okay? That's the same for crypto. It is happening now as far as I can see it. Some projects are definitely going to disappear, but some are going to be the giants that a lot of people probably don't see today. So here, I'm not talking about SHIB specifically. It's basically across the board. Among all these crypto projects, some of them will become very successful in the long run. Here, what we need to see as a confirmation for the price to go up, or at least people are willing to come back in to risk on assets, is that we need to see a bunch of white candlesticks coming to challenge the range between the light blue key level of 937 with 5 leading zeros and the blue key level of 1001 with 4 leading zeros. Okay, that's the range for SHIB. in order to confirm that people are willing to get back to SHIB. Okay. Also, the volume has to be higher than average. Okay. The volume has been very low if you look at this trend from 2025 to now. It's been staying at a very low level. So what we need to see, if you compare to what happened over here, you see these spikes in volume, right? Let me enlarge this and bring this. I'm referring to these. So volume increase, and stacked across multiple weeks. You see the price came back to challenge the trading range top. That's the thing that we want to see for this round. Okay. That's the big picture, and that's the confirmation we need. I'm not saying that it's going to go all the way to the moon from that point, because the price can still come back down to retest. And then the price surge would eventually happen, like what happened over here. Just in December 2023, the price came up just to get a bit of retracement before the whales push it all the way to the moon. Let's get to the daily chart to look at some dates. We talked about multiple dates, and last time I said, this is a very stretched target, the 18th of February. It will happen before our next session. So unless very good news come in and the bulls get sufficient bullets to push the price to go above the yellow key level of 815, otherwise, this, I don't see it's going to happen that easily. It's actually very difficult, to be honest. More reasonable would be, by the end of March, okay, not even beginning of March, unless next week when we come back to look at it, some good news happened and the price is able to go above the orange key level of 760. All right. So very first step is to go above the 681 red key level. That's where the October 10th tariff announcement showed us. Okay, that's why that's a very good first target to come back to above that level. It's still possible. Okay, you see, the volume is picking up now. When we get into the end of January, it's definitely coming in, and we get a confirmation over here on the 6th, just 1 week ago, that the bulls pushed the price very hard when the bears tried to smash it to the level that we talked about, set by 2021 September. All right. So the support over here was very strong last week. So I would take it as that, the bulls are willing to defend it, or the diamond hands are willing to defend this line over here when it comes back down again. So this now is retesting this short-term resistance. You see those 3 candlesticks, right? They were topped over here. Today, we're back to challenge that. So this range between these two white lines, 647 and 619, is the battleground for the next few days. All right, if any side get any news to support their movement, may it be downwards or upwards, that's going to change the outlook, at least for the next week or two. But one more thing, if the price really successfully close above or close around this level, it is the very first time in the last 8 days that the price closed above the center line of the downtrend. So that's another important point. So if the price stays above the stronger half of the channel, the chance of that we are getting close to a trend change confirmation from downtrend that started, as early as September last year to where we're now, may finally be over. But of course, the confirmation will still need to come, but likely not until we get into March. Okay. If you're interested to get access to these sessions 2 days earlier than the others, join the channel membership now. See you in the next video. Thank you.